Welcome. Welcome. I welcome each and every one of you, for those who feel like it, to write in the chat your name, where are you connecting from, what is bringing you to this special event that we are having today, the session about self-empathy led by Ceri Buckmaster. Hi, Ceri.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
So I'll also introduce myself. My name is Goni. I'm part of the NVC Rising team. And this is an open community event that we are having, a community session led by Ceri about self-empathy and how meaningful it can be in our lives on a personal level and also on a social systemic level, how it can impact us and others. And Ceri will say more about it. I can say that we now have a series of open community events as a preparation for an in-person convention that we are producing at NVC Rising that is called Rising for Life. Having been organizing for the past, I guess, 15 years, like more than a few in-person conventions, mostly in Israel and Palestine. This will be our first NVC Rising formal gathering, in-person gathering. So we are very, very excited about that. For those of you who are new to NVC Rising, I can say that we are an online initiative that started about 5 years ago when COVID started. And again, after many years of organizing actually in-person trainings, we realized that 5 years ago, that now when people are not able to meet, we would really, really like to offer spaces online for people to connect, to learn together and to grow. And our mission is also to, position nonviolent communication more clearly as a tool for social change, as a theory for social change. And so this is our mission during the 5 years that we are operating and creating programs, and also definitely in the upcoming Rising for Life global convention that will take place in the end of May in Spain, in a beautiful retreat center called Soria. And Ceri is one of the lead trainers at Rising for Life, and she's the first trainer among the three lead trainers that we have. Among them are Tarek Masarani and Kathleen McFerrin. Ceri is the first one to offer the online community session as a preparation for the convention. It's an open session. We are happy that you are here, even if you are not going to join us in Spain. And it's also an opportunity for those who are interested to join the convention in Spain to get to know Ceri, to get to know us, and to become a little bit more familiar with the materials that we will be working with during the convention. And we will, this is a teaser, this is a little taste of the 8 days that we are going to spend together. But it's definitely a meaningful one. And as maybe a headline, I can say that on the Rising for Life convention, we are going to explore nonviolence. We're going to explore the violence that lives inside of us, and the violence that is also around us. And we are going to question or to explore our commitment to nonviolence through learning together to nonviolent communication, but also other modalities that we find relevant to the work of researching what violence is and what non-violence is. Let me just do something, have a technical issue. I just also want to present Paula. Paula, you're here, right? I can't really see you. Okay. Paula is also part of the NVC Rising team. And Paula, I'm going to make you co-host now because we have more and more people joining us. And I'm a bit distracted letting them in. So maybe you could help me. Paula, I made you co-host.
Yeah, I'm in as well.
Oh,
so.
you can also, yeah, thank you, Ceri. We have more and more and more people coming. It's wow, like so happy to see it. We have over 50 people in the room. And I'm also very excited to see wow, where you all are coming from. So I will repeat my request. I'm really welcoming you and inviting you to write in the chat your name, where you're from, where you're connecting to this meeting from today. Maybe you are now in one place and you are originally from another place, and what motivated you to join us. I will also say that we are going to, in a moment, start the session with Ceri, the workshop with Ceri. It will be around 1 hour and a half, roughly, plus minus. And after that, we are also going to have between 15 to 20 to 30 minutes of Q&A time about the Rising for Life convention. For those who are interested, those who are not so interested could leave us and say goodbye within about 1 hour and a half now. And those who are interested, I will stay here to share more about the convention. And I will also put in the chat the convention website, the Rising for Life website, my email, and I welcome you to contact me in person if you would like to ask something or to meet. And also a document where you could read a little bit more about the themes that we will cover during the convention.
Hi.
Hello. Okay, I think I will pass it to you. Maybe you could also say a few more words about the convention and why it's meaningful for you to be part of it, while I will put some information in the chat, and then we will move on to the workshop.
Great. Thank you, Goni. Thank you, Paula, for supporting the space. And thank you, everyone, for being here. It's lovely to be in a room of 57 at the moment people to experience and wonder about self-empathy. Also, we are here because of the gathering, the convention that is going to happen in May. And, you may not be thinking of coming to that, and that's great. You're really welcome here. And you might be considering coming to that. So there will be space at the end to ask Goni more questions about logistics around that and themes as well. I put in the chat a little while ago, I'll put it in again, a short piece that I wrote about my last visit to Surya Leela. It's a yoga retreat center that is very committed to nonviolence and nonviolent communication. So I have been going there over the past 8 years to train staff in nonviolent communication. So that's why it's a wonderful place for us to be meeting, because they already have their own inquiry into nonviolence in relation to the yogic tradition. And at the same time, they are exploring permaculture in the land, which is a very, southern Spain is dealing with a lot of very hot weather, lack of rainfall, desertification, and they are exploring a permaculture project to connect with the land and to nourish the land. And you really see it happening. So it's 8 years since I last went. and I can see the kind of magic that's happening with the land. So it's a really inspiring place to be, for us to be supporting, because they are supporting the land there. So have a little look at the article that I put in the chat. So yeah, the themes that we are going to be covering are the themes that really inspire me about NVC Rising. And it's the application of NVC in the world. So it's not only our interpersonal relationships and our relationships with self, of course, that's really important, but it's how we are applying this to the really big issues that are happening in our world. And that's why I love working with NVC Rising, because it's that application of NVC. Trying to figure out the way for NVC to fulfill its potential. And we don't know all the answers, but that's the question, that's the inquiry that we are coming with. How can we collaborate? How can we be together in the messiness of being human? How can we be together in the face of traumatizing, unforgettable violence that we are experiencing? How can we support each other? How can we build and grow? All of these questions. What is even the way that NVC can create change? What is the theory of change for NVC? That's something that I've been really interested in. How does NVC actually create change? And when we started exploring what this session might be, my initial gut was like, let's start with self-empathy. Let's start with how self-empathy actually is a force for social change. Let's explore how that even happens. Let's do a self-empathy practice, and let's explore how self-empathy really empowers us to go out into the world and to be the change that we want to see. So that's why my gut was to start with self-empathy. And I guess one other thing that I want to say, and we'll come on to this more, is that I train nonviolent communication, but I do a lot of mediation. I work a lot with conflict. And self-empathy is the piece that if people in conflict can access some self-empathy, that's the thing that can create change. If they can access that nourishment, if they can do that to themselves, then they are less likely to be trying to find fault and blame in the other person. So in mediation processes, in conflict processes, self-empathy is a very important piece if people can access it. And often people can't, because we're not taught that. If you don't know NVC, it's you know, why are you doing self-empathy? We're not taught this. So often in mediation and group and conflict processes, I'm inputting these tools, sometimes, you know, not explicitly, but we're working in the realm of self-empathy. It creates the shift that we need. I'll just pause there, Tony, just to come back to you to see if there's anything you want to say in response to that.
Nothing is coming up now, but just really resonating with how meaningful self-empathy is in my life, and how much connection I've gained, and let's say inner trust, and a sense of inner safety from developing this practice myself. And I also feel I've been practicing nonviolent communication for the past 15 years, and I feel there is always more and more and more and more to practice and more to learn. So I'm grateful for today.
Yeah, great. Okay, let's there's a few things that I'm going to bring as input and reflection about empathy, self-empathy, and a few definitions as well. So I'll input some things, and then I will outline some self-empathy practices, because there are several and different kinds. I'll outline those, and then I'll demo, and then we'll go into small groups to practice something. So, and then we'll come back together and look at why self-empathy empowers us, and you will be able to connect to the empowerment that you are feeling. So I'm going to share a few things. I'm going to find my slides. So we called the title of this, Why is Self-Empathy Such an Empowered Act? And we'll be exploring that. But I want to start, first of all, with what is empathy? And I know some of you may be here who are new to NVC as well. So I'm really going to outline some of the ways that I am working with empathy and the NVC practitioners work with empathy. Just for a little bit of shared reality to start with, especially if you're new. But even if you're not, it's really helpful just to keep reminding ourselves of this.
Ceri,
So
I was thinking before you start, because you mentioned new people to NVC, maybe we can ask new people to write, like if you're not at all or very new to NVC, maybe you can write 1 next to your name. You can rename yourself with 1. And it will also be really meaningful and helpful for us later on with breakout rooms. So we can make sure you are there with someone that has a little bit more experience. So if you are new to NVC, please add to your name in the beginning the number 1. Okay, sorry, Ceri, for
great idea, thank you. So yeah, and maybe it's really important to name that whatever our awareness of NVC or our familiarity with NVC, it's so helpful to go back to these foundations of self-empathy. I find it all the time, every time I'm working with what is actually a simple practice, how deep and profound it is. And it's always giving back to me. So I'm glad that there are many of you here who have experience with NVC and those of you who are coming into it. Great. All right, so what is empathy? I'm going to start by saying it's deep listening. And I have a couple of quotes here just to kind of give us some juiciness into this. Dan Siegel says, empathy is the ability to make yourself available to the internal world of another. Holding space for another person, making yourself available to the internal world of another. And then Marshall Rosenberg says, as a very timely reminder, do not think what you say is empathy. As soon as you think empathy is what you say, we're off track. Empathy is where we connect our attention, our consciousness. So Marshall was kind of thinking of more of our energy towards connection rather than making a perfect empathy guess. It's not what we say, it's the energy that we are listening with. So that's a really important reminder. Don't worry about trying to say the right thing. If you are listening and you are open, then you are in an empathic energy. Then I want to consider that empathy creates change. Now, this is really important. I'll give the first quote, which is from Carl Rogers. Empathy allows us to re-perceive our world in a new way and go on. There's a shift that happens with empathy, and Dominic Barter says it in a slightly different way. Empathy needs to translate into a new relationship with the thing that is causing pain. So if we have an ongoing difficulty, an ongoing difficult relationship, and we have some empathic listening, but nothing changes in the thing that is causing pain, that, Dominic Barter would say, that is not empathy. That is just acclimatizing yourself, making yourself used to being in pain. Empathy needs to translate into a new relationship. So empathy creates change. And you may have experienced the shift in yourself that you can experience when someone is deeply listening to you. That shift does need to translate into new ways of doing things. Therefore, we need requests. Therefore, we need to ask for different things to happen. So that's how it fits into the NVC model. And I'll give one more element or aspect of empathy, is that it needs boundaries. So this is really relevant to when we're thinking about empathy with an empathy exchange, for example. It needs boundaries. And this is from Brené Brown. You should have boundaries. You can tread water of empathy forever. It keeps giving back to us. It's not finite. Empathy minus boundaries is not empathy. And I love that reminder of the importance of boundaries. So whenever we're doing an empathy practice, there are different ways we can put input boundaries. A time boundary, for example, 5 minutes each or whatever, a time boundary. Also, the practice of listening for needs and listening for feelings, there's another boundary there. We're not giving advice, we're not fixing it. We have a boundary of a clear listening task. So that's another way of inputting boundaries. So there's a few things about empathy, and but we're here talking about self-empathy. So we're working with all of that towards ourself. And I want to input something about self-empathy as inner friendship. So I'm bringing something here from John O'Donoghue, who some of you may know. He's an Irish spiritual leader. He died now, poet. He writes amazing blessings. And I love what he writes about inner friendship. He doesn't call it self-empathy, but to me, this is the territory we are in. He says these three things: a world lives within you, right? A world lives within us. Then no one else can bring you news of your inner world. Only we can listen for the news that's within us. And then he says we can learn the art of inwardness. So that's what we're doing here. Self-empathy is a practice. It's the art of inwardness, the art of looking inward inside of us. So there's a world inside of us. No one else can do this work for us. And we can learn the art of inwardness. And that's from his book, Anam Cara. Just take a little moment to breathe that in. As we're saying all of these things, it might bring up pain. It might bring up sadness. And if it does, yeah, let's allow a little beat for sadness as it comes. Okay, let us now, with what I've just said, we'll go back to the slideshow in a minute. We have a little poll. Oh, how do I stop screen sharing? Oh, stop sharing. We have a little poll, which to ask you about your self-empathy practices. On the poll, you can choose as many options as you want. And it's asking about what you already do as self-empathy, and also about times when you're not accessing self-empathy. So, Goni, when you're ready, let's launch the poll.
Okay, I'm launching the poll. I hope you can all see it. Let us know. If not, we will try to assist.
So we'll give you a couple of minutes to choose. You can choose as many as you want to. So Donna is asking, how can you respond to the poll? It should come up on your screen in front of you. If it's not coming up, then I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm also unsure.
But what I will do is the slideshow that I'm going through, I'm going to share with you so you can see.
Now it's working. Okay, it was working.
Oh, perfect. But almost everyone has responded, so let's just give one more minute. And then we'll see the results.
Reading from Michelle. Michelle wished there had been an other option. Would have put attention on breath, breathing, body scan.
Great. So if there's other things you do, pop them in the chat. Breath, breathing, body scan. Yeah. All right. Shall we end the poll?
Yes.
Let's end the poll and just see what's singing. Yeah.
Okay. So I see, yeah. No, I don't see nothing. Okay, ending the poll.
So I can see the results. I'm not sure if everyone else can. Just see a nod from people. Yes, you can see the results. So let's just have a look. So when you are in conflict or in a conflict, you can talk to yourself in a kind way, acknowledging that this is hurting. So yeah, 74% of people, you find time to do a self-empathy practice, and we will come on to that after this. I'll offer some self-empathy practices. About 50% of you. Drawing or journaling about the conflict, 37. Going for a walk or doing something else to relieve the pressure, 82%. Almost everyone, a lot of people there. Find someone else to talk it through or receive empathy, 72%. Often don't realize I'm in conflict, 20%. That's true for me. I often don't realize I'm in conflict. I think I'm not in conflict, and then I realize that, oh, I can't stop thinking about it. That to me is a sign that I'm in conflict. So it's true for me that I often don't realize I'm in conflict. And often I spend longer in stuckness than I would like. Sometimes my periods of stuckness go on for years. So I'm not yet sure of the way forward. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And 54% of you said you would like more options of self-empathy practices. Amazing. Thank you, everyone. And I hope it's given a sense of, there are so many things that we can do to bring attention to our feelings, because that's what we mean by empathy. It's moving into the area of feelings and needs. So what is it that we can do where we can actually feel our feelings? So let's have a little look at the things that are in the chat. So singing helps us connect. Yeah, metta and karuna practice, Buddhism. Yeah, having a good cry. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna close that, I think. Yeah, close that. Baking, cooking. Yeah, I do a lot of stress baking when I'm stressed. Okay. Let's move on a little bit now to what within NVC context is a kind of empathy, self-empathy practice. And I'm going to name one thing about which relates to when conflicts are kind of ongoing, or you're in periods of stuckness that go on for longer than you would like, as I just said I have. Bringing empathy to your experience involves naming more of your emotions, naming more of your emotionality. Sometimes we get a sense of our feelings and needs. That's what we're talking about with empathy. But there's still something bugging us or bothering us. And I have a sense that that's because there is more that we are not yet accessing. So if we only understand part of what's happening emotionally, not the whole thing, we can't relax. When we've got to the need or got to the kind of the cluster of needs, then something shifts in us. If something is still bugging you, annoying you, or something can't rest, there's an emotion that hasn't been named. And that's from a lot of Sarah Payton's work. And there's links in the slides there to her book. Okay, I'm going to name briefly now 4 self-empathy practices, and I'm going to demo one of them. So there are lots of different self-empathy practices. I'll start with naming the 4 steps of empathy. Also that this is a self-empathy practice, something you can do by yourself, and it's usually very effective to have your self-empathy practice witnessed silently by someone. And that's what we're going to practice today. So I'm showing you practices that you can do by yourself. And if they are witnessed, that tends to have a really grounding effect on them. I'll say a little bit more on that in a moment. So the 4 steps of empathy, it's a classic NVC practice. It starts with when you're judging and blaming the other. It's when you're in conflict with someone. It moves on to judging and blaming yourself. It really is good to surface these judgments, which sometimes aren't conscious. So this practice holds you to not stay in the judgments, but to move through it. I like to think of this practice as a kind of trauma-informed self-empathy practice. You start with fight and flight, and you move through to social engagement, connecting to your own feelings and needs, and also the feelings and needs of the other person. If it's more of an inner conflict, then you focus on these 2 aspects of the process. So you just focus on the judging and blaming and stories you have about yourself and connecting to your own feelings and needs. That's one practice. We're not going to practice this today, but I'm just naming it there to put it in the kind of the what's the word? The category of different kinds of self-empathy practices.
Okay, before you move on, people are saying that they cannot, when they enter the document, there is no access.
There's no
access to the document. Maybe we need to
okay.
Change the.
Let me. Yeah, you're right. It's
like the link when people are trying to enter the link.
Let me just give. Thank you. It's restricted. I haven't yet given access. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
There we go. Thank you.
And we can go back to the screen share, but then also people can open.
Yeah. And someone is asking for the link.
I can do it.
Okay. Thank you. So the second practice that I'm going to share is again a really important practice within NVC. Sometimes it's called transforming enemy images. I like to call it humanizing the other. And I've studied lots of different dissolving enemy images practices, and this is the one that I've come up with because it has an acronym, and I've given it an acronym, and I like acronyms. So I've called it LASER. So you start with the load, which is the judgment. You start there, and then get to the action. What was the thing that has happened? The observation. And then move into self-empathy. So what are your feelings and needs? And then empathy for the other. What are the feelings and needs of the other person? And then to reflect and to make requests about this. In the slides, there is a link to more information about this and a video that you can listen to. So again, self-empathy is a really important part of transforming enemy images. If we don't spend time on self-empathy, the process doesn't shift anything. It's a very, very important aspect. Moving on to the third, I call it mirror self-empathy. It's when I talk to myself in the mirror and make an empathy guess. And when I say empathy guess, I mean, are you feeling this? Are you feeling the need for support? Are you needing support? And often in my times of deepest despair, this has been the only thing I can do. And I've, you know, just an example from my own life is when I had really challenging times with my son when he was little, I would kind of literally have a couple of minutes that I could just go to the bathroom, and I would look at myself in the mirror and say, oh, you're really frozen right now. And naming my emotional state really helped me begin to move through it. So even saying, you know, are you feeling completely stuck and frozen right now? Are you needing some care? Are you needing some support? Are you needing change? Are you needing a rest? And looking at myself in the mirror, it always shifts something for me. There's something really tender about looking myself in the mirror and making a feeling or a need guess. There's a little bit of accompaniment. It's like there's me and there's my reflection. I don't feel so alone. So this is something which, you know, I'm sure that you do things like this of very simple things that take a couple of seconds to bring yourself into a space of empathy with yourself, into a feeling space with yourself, so you can feel your feelings. And the final practice, which I'm bringing, is the 2 chairs practice. So self-empathy for inner conflict. And I'm going to demonstrate this now. I have 2 chairs here, as you can see in the picture, and you're going to sit in each chair, speak different parts of your experience. So in one chair, you're going to speak the shoulds, the have tos, the judgmental language, any no choice or paralyzed perspectives. It could be that you are just in the story, and by that you're telling a story about your experience. There could be judgments of yourself. You could be completely stuck. So I'm going to sit in this chair and be in my story. And then when I come back to this chair, I'm going to empathize with myself, who's over here. So I'm going to guess feelings and needs for the voice that is here, for the part of me is here. And it's very creative and very spontaneous, and it's a real improvisation. So I'm going to work through something now, and I'm going to suggest that, Tony, you okay to come into the space with me, and we'll spotlight you and me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also aware of everyone else in the room who I'm also sharing this to, and you are also holding space for me. So I'm aware of you. So thank you for being there. And I'll go for about 5 minutes or so. So I'm going to start in this chair, Goni. And Goni, you don't need to say anything unless I say, oh, I have no idea what I'm needing. Can you help me out here? So if I directly ask you that, I'm going to put a light on. They're a little bit dark. That makes a difference. Okay, so I mean, this is in my story chair. What's happening is with world events of recent, well, months, more than months, I'm noticing that I'm really, really, I'm finding it difficult to switch off. And I noticed a few nights ago, there's so many things I'm listening to, trying to get some understanding on what's happening in the world. I noticed instead of listening to relaxing music to go to bed, I was listening to a podcast about world politics. And I thought, Ceri, this is not healthy. This is not healthy. That I'm going to bed listening to, I don't know, something about Trump or something about Elon Musk or something about what's happening in Israel, Palestine. Yeah, I'm gonna empathize with that. Yeah. Are you feeling a bit overwhelmed with what's happening in the world? As I hear you listening to podcasts obsessively, are you really needing a sense of understanding or making sense of what's happening in the world? Are you feeling scared with what's happening in the world? Are you needing a way through? Are you needing a way that makes sense? And for you right now, listening to news and podcasts, that's a way of trying to make sense of the world. Come back here. Oh, yeah. I am really trying to make sense and trying to figure out I'm really trying to figure this out. How can NVC support this? And I'm struggling to figure out how we can gain a tipping point of people who have power, who can bring empathy and compassion to what's happening in the world. I feel some despair. I feel really despairing. I do feel really scared. And I feel there's some judgment of myself. The judgment is that I'm not doing enough, or I'm not doing the right thing. It's not working. That I'm not speaking loud enough. All of these judgments of myself, that I'm not finding the thing that is going to create change. So my mind is just kind of really trying to figure this out. I'll move into this chair. I wonder if I'm hearing how much you care about this, how much you care about the violence and the suffering that's in the world, and how much you care about NVC and the fact it can help us humanize each other. And you really want NVC to be a force for change. You really want peace in the world. And I heard you with the judgments of yourself. I heard you, actually, I think I hear that you know you can contribute, and you want to find a way to contribute more and more effectively. I have a sense of your hope, capacity, in power. Yeah, it's something like that. And I'll come back one more time here. Yeah, all of that lands. Do have a sense of, I really hope for change, hope for better things in the world. And I do trust that NVC is an important part to play in that. And there's more that needs to happen. And now I'm saying that there's more that needs to happen. I'm saying that I feel much more grounded saying that. That just feels real and true, without being a harsh judgment on myself that I'm not good enough, I'm not doing enough. And I'll just come back to you, Goni, just to sort of see if there's any feelings or needs that, you know, really stood out to you, whether I said them or not. I'll come back into this chair. And then I'll stay in this chair. This is the part that needs it.
I'm not sure if you named that already or not, but I wonder if there's also some confusion.
Yeah.
That everything is happening fast, and maybe there is also a sense of like stress. Many things are coming from different directions.
Yeah.
And maybe there is also confusion around what to attend first, how to care for the many things that are important for you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, confusion, stressed, feels really lands. I felt overwhelmed.
I was
Yeah.
also wondering if there's something about choice or sense of self-determination, something around how can you matter. I heard from you that you feel like you can matter, that you feel like there are many things you can offer, but maybe there is still uncertainty around how can you really do them.
Yeah. Yeah, I do really have a sense of, I'll come over here now. I do matter, and what I'm doing does matter, and I can feel that. I can feel quite grounded in myself as I say that, and that's a shift that's happened from doing this practice. That I know I feel more grounded. Of course, there's so much more that needs to happen, and it's a relentless task. There's a lot that needs to happen, but I feel grounded and like I have more self-trust by allowing this part here some voice here.
And Kay, when you say that there's a lot that needs to happen, you mean that you really want to take responsibility, but you also somehow acknowledge that many other people, or that many other people are also responsible, or what do you mean maybe by that?
Oh, okay. What do I mean? Thank you, because it wasn't clear what I meant. I would like to see big changes in the world towards greater peace. So more inclusion, more care for each other, less reactivity, less war. So it feels like there's such a shift. When I say lots needs to happen, there's a shift towards more compassionate communication, more compassionate, not only communication, more compassionate being in the world. Thank you, Goni. And let's come back to everyone now. And maybe we'll start just by any other needs that you heard, those of you who are witnessing, thank you. We can remove spotlight. That maybe I didn't say, or anything that's really stood out to you in my needs here. And we'll just have a few, especially if you're new to NVC, that may have been, oh, you might not have witnessed that before. What's really helpful is staying in the language of feelings and needs. So if you are new to NVC, then stay as much as you can in, are you feeling something? Are you needing this? And feel those guesses. Just see if there's any other feelings or needs guesses. You could take this opportunity just to practice. Yeah, safety. Yeah. Yeah, hope. Yeah, thank you, Byron. Grief. Yeah, I didn't name that, but I have a need for grief and mourning. Yeah, and as I name that, I can feel the tears as well, but I didn't notice it in that demo. Thank you. Sense of purpose and meaning. Yeah, yeah. Bit helpless. Yeah. I need support. Yeah. Thank you. These are all really landing. Yeah. I need support and I need companionship, which is another reason why I'm going to be in Spain. So I get to meet some of you in real life, in person, and to meet the other trainers, and we can grapple with this together. Yeah, peace and ease, for sure. I would like good rest and not to be listening to politics as I go to bed. Yeah. Over responsibility. What's the need there? What's the need there?
I'm not. Yeah, Ceri, I'm not. I wasn't sure I put it because I couldn't quite think of what the.
Yeah.
Because
Have a think. What is the need? When we can quite quickly shift into interpreting and adding an analysis of like, oh, you're being over responsible. It's like, so what is the shift into the need? Because the needs really ground us. That's why they are these kind of sort of abstract words: support, community, empathy, connection, authenticity. These kind of words that they somehow take us out of our busy doing space and into our grounded body space. Self-care, yes. Contribution, lightness, yep, that really lands. Thank you. And I feel very blessed because not only did I have only right there with me, I was also aware of all of you, and I'm also receiving all of these empathy guesses now for what I was talking about. So I'm feeling really blessed and really seen, and it's really something is shifting in me. So what is happening is the silent witnessing that you have done actually makes a big difference in my capacity to do self-empathy. I don't know about you, but when I'm on my own and I try and do a self-empathy practice, I often give up after about half a minute. Having someone else there, even one person is enough, holds us accountable. And the beauty of self-empathy is that I am leading the process, but someone else is there. And I really felt Goni had my back, and I felt all of you were there. You're keeping me accountable. I'm doing it because you are there. When I'm on my own, I often give up. So, and it's very important that we do the work ourselves. As John O'Donoghue said, no one else can bring us this news of our inner world. I need to do it, but I need you to hold me accountable so I actually do the work. So I really like these witnessed self-empathy practices. And also you can do, as Goni and I did, I said, what other needs and feelings are you hearing? So that's a bit more of empathy. So asking someone else to offer an empathy guess. And then I asked you all to offer an empathy guess. You can do all of these things. Okay. We are going to go into a practice in groups of 3. We're going to have a short break before we do that. So we are going to set up the breakout rooms. You can go and make yourself a cup of tea or whatever you want to do. And just be thinking about what you want to bring. And you will each have, we'll have 5 minutes each. So a short time, but you can start playing with this. So should we have a 5-minute break, Goni? Is that okay? Is that good?
Maybe 7. And before we go to the break, I want to ask people who do not want to be part of the breakout room or are just in a listening mode to rename yourself with 2 brackets before your name. I don't know if you can see, for example, Paula has 2 brackets. Yeah, and some other people have 2. And if you have the 2 brackets before your name and you do want to practice, so please take them off. And if you are new to NVC, I said this before, but some people just entered a while ago. Please put number 1 before your name, so I know you are fairly new to NVC. Yeah, and I think we will welcome you back after the break, and then we'll go to the breakout rooms. Yeah, this is how we will work it out.
Let's come back at 7 minutes time. Let's say 5 past. Let's do Central European time. So that's 5 past 7, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so take the time to move around a little bit.
Okay. See you soon.
See you
7
soon.
minutes.
Oh, Franco doesn't know how to add brackets.
I could try to rename. Ceri, do you have a feelings and needs lists available?
Yep.
Handy. Maybe we will also put them in the chat, maybe, so people could.
Yeah, I'll put them in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Are you saying brackets or dashes?
Hmm.
Because I see some people have dashes and
Actually, sorry, maybe it's dashes.
Yeah, two
Right.
dashes.
yeah, instead of brackets because
Oh, right. It's not brackets. It's dashes.
yeah, yeah. I thought that's what you were looking
What I
for
meant.
I
Yeah.
what you meant, because I see some people put brackets there. I don't think that's what you meant. So
Yeah, thank you. Such amazing feedback.
okay.
All right, here I see. I was like,
You're welcome.
Thank you. Right.
I have so much respect for people being in these spaces when English is not your first language, because there's so many words. I have that privilege of I'm speaking my mother tongue, and you know, this I try to do this in French, and it's terrible. So
Wow.
so much respect to you, Goni.
Thank you. Thank you. No, where is it?
Yeah, so Barb's saying, can we access the resources? You will be able to download them from your controls. So you can do that at the end of the meeting. And we will definitely send the slides to people. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea, because that's what I do at these times.
Yeah.
Somebody renamed me with the dashes, and I don't know why, but I just took the dashes out because I want to participate.
Oh, can we stop this?
Goni, are you sharing your screen? Somebody is sharing a screen. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how can even someone share their screen. Like,
Franco, when we come back, I will just say again what I'm asking you to do.
mhm.
And Vinita, we're going into breakouts in a few minutes. I'm going to say something which is going to be difficult, I think. I think we should go into twos.
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
Just because it with threes it makes it into a we will have more time. It will be more spacious in twos.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
that really going to be difficult?
No, I'm going to do that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Ceri, here, this is Paula. A few people have joined recently. I'm wondering, while Goni moves people around, if it might be helpful to just restate the exercise. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's 5 past now. So this is our coming back time. So I'll spend a few minutes describing what we're going to do now. So I know some of you have recently arrived. We're going to be in groups of 2. So there's an instruction. If you don't want to be in a group, what do? Do you put brackets in? Sorry,
no, dashes.
Two dashes.
So if you don't want to be in a group for whatever reason, you're going to put 2 dashes, like I'm just doing it in front of my name. And if you please do that, because that helps us. We can't look in the chat for all the preferences. So put it in your name. So put 2 dashes in front of your name if you don't want to be in a breakout room. In the breakout space, those of you who saw the demonstration, you will get a sense of the self-empathy practice that I am suggesting. It's a 2 chairs practice. So have 2 chairs for yourself, and you will be in 1 chair to name the story or your self-judgment or the shoulds, the have-tos. I'm just going to put that into the chat again. The stuckness, the judgments of yourself. It's the story of it. It's the things that you're saying to yourself. And then say a little bit of the story, as I did, and then I moved into guessing feelings and needs for myself. And let me just put that in as well. That is going to be sit in the other chair to empathize. And if you want to slide 14 in the slides, if you want to have the slides up, you can look at slide 14. There we go. So you will have probably about 6 minutes each. So let's have total with a little bit of swapping over time. I'd say 14 minutes total. So it will be 6 minutes each with a minute either side of it. We're trying to pair you up. So if you are new to NVC, we're pairing you up with someone who hasn't said they're new to NVC. So if you are confused about what to do next, go into the breakout room and see what happens. One of you will have an understanding, and you can do what you like. You can use the space. You will have 6 minutes for yourself, and you can do what you need to do. If this practice that I've suggested doesn't resonate, you can do something else. You might know a different practice that you need. You might just want to be in the story of it. You might need to let go, let it pour out. So you might want to do that. So basically you can do what you want in the time. I've given a suggestion, but you can do what you can use the time as you want, and you can have a connection with someone. How about that? Great. All right. Ready to go.
We're all set. Opening rooms now. Those of you who had the 2 dashes in front of your name, you might be sent to room number 19. No one there is expecting to be practicing. So you could either go there or stay here. Doesn't matter so much. If you want quiet, you might want to go there.
Shall we pause the recording now, Goni?
Yeah. Let me. How do I do?
Great. So welcome back, everyone. Just to orient ourselves, I know some of you weren't here at the beginning. What's going to happen now is a little bit of debrief and a little bit looking at why self-empathy is an empowered act. And then in about 10 minutes time, Goni's going to stay here and answer any questions you have about the upcoming gathering convention in Spain in May. So stick around for that if you want to ask questions about the gathering itself. But for now, we will continue to explore self-empathy. Oh, someone's turning the microwave on. So however you got on with that practice, and I hope you managed to have some connection and some connection to yourself in that, how can you imagine that this empowers us? How can you feel and see that self-empathy empowers us? What is it about self-empathy that supports us to change or shift from one position into something that is more life-affirming? So let's have some comments in the chat and some voices as well into the space. What is it that empowers us by doing this? Oh, that question. I'll go to you, Phyllis, to start with.
Well, this is a very spontaneous response, but I mean, I just had a really beautiful experience where, like, I don't really feel like I've had a kind of a cry like this. My heart has had a cry like this in a while. And it just seems to me that, like, by getting more in touch with my own heart and suffering and being heard, that I'm going to be able to experience that, but you know, like be in it, but also that it's going to help me eventually be in relationship to other people and hear them and be available for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of bringing hope for something different, a different relating to other people by how accessing your feelings and your connection to yourself. And I really hear you acknowledge the connection you had with the other person as well in your group. Thank you, Phyllis.
Yeah,
Really great
thank you. I
to
appreciate it.
hear from you. Sabine wrote, it gives me a little bit of distance and brings me independence. Yeah, yeah. Would anyone else like to bring their voice into the room? How is it that self-empathy empowers us? What can you feel the possibility for? DL?
I was with a veteran, and I am in West Virginia on the East Coast, and we, you know, are both dealing with the onslaught of Trump 2.0, and so I haven't gotten too empowered by any means. You know, I mean, I was trying to pick myself up out of, you know, a puddle of mourning and despair.
Yeah.
So what it does is it's at our survival level. The self-empathy is at survival level, I feel, with people who are going like, you know, who are still stunned about the onslaught here. So
Yeah.
I truly hope that I get to empowered, and I do know I have something to offer in this time, but you know, right now I'm just holding my center,
Yeah.
and I mean the empathy helps me hold on, which is a start.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. You used the word onslaught, and like having space for the onslaught that you are experiencing is really important to be real in this moment and to stay present, because the other option is that we disappear, that we it's too much. So having some self-empathy enables us to be real, to stay present and connected. And it was beautiful that you were kind of with someone else who was experiencing something similar as well. I'm just gonna get one more. I'll go to you, Jan, and just before I go to you, Jan, I'll just sort of just track some of the things that are coming in. Allows me to go deeper into myself, and then it's more differing options materialize to meet my own needs. Yeah, it gives us a bit of space. I realize that I matter. Often we need to do self-empathy because we don't have a sense of mattering in a situation, but by giving ourselves this time, we are actually embodying mattering. By giving ourselves 5 minutes of empathy, self-empathy, that is an embodiment of mattering. We show that we matter. So it's, yeah, in a sense, that's where the empowerment comes. I can do this. Everything is terrible. I can do this. Jan, let's come to you.
Wow, thank you for that last. I feel it's safety again. I just keep coming back to a sense of safety. Someone's not going to jump on me with their advice even or anything. And I used to think it was, I mean, there's a violence in that right there. It's the safety of the space, of just the reflective. That's all.
Yeah, thank you. And I guess that really relates to this kind of witnessed self-empathy, which is another layer of boundaries, I think, of container, of, you know, you're not going to be jumped on with advice or fixing it. And you are connecting to yourself, and the other person is there holding the space for you. Maria says, how do you spell onslaught? Exactly as you have spelt it, Maria. Well done. Well, I'm just going to say a few more things about how and this is also in the slides, so you can go back to them, about why I find self-empathy an empowering act. For me, as I gave the example of when things are really tough with my son, and the self-empathy I could give myself was looking in the mirror and just naming my freeze, just naming how hard it was, naming my emotions and my state, was all I could do. And it moved me out of this place of utter despair and utter frozenness. It moved me out of that place just by naming what is. And if you, it's a very great skill. Just name the obstacle, name the thing that's challenging. It moves us out of a place of stuckness. Self-empathy is also really important to stop us reproducing actions of withdrawal, dismissal, shutdown, or punishment. So if we stop and we bring attention to our feelings and needs, we are less likely to react and punish and do back to the other person. So self-empathy can support stopping the cycle of violence. Self-empathy can support building lasting peace. And this is all, big picture, incremental, slow changes, but I really trust that it is part of what is going to support us move forward. And self-empathy can lighten the load you are carrying. So we come into a self-empathy practice with a heavy load of the judgments, self-judgments, or judgments of others. We're carrying a lot. And self-empathy can help us unload, unpack, unburden ourselves of those things. And sometimes self-empathy can help you regain connection to your pain and mourning, and that brings you life again. By connecting to your grief and mourning, we become alive again. Sometimes I notice in self-empathy, I feel very energized because I'm naming things that I have been suppressing, I have been avoiding. And then in self-empathy, I'm naming things, and it brings me energy. It revitalizes me and also helps me ground at the same time. The self-empathy can help build respectful relationships to people who are different from you, especially the 4 steps of empathy and the laser process that I outlined earlier on. You can go back and look at that if you came afterwards. We all have implicit bias. We all have biases. We can recognize people who are similar to us, and we don't understand so much people who are different from us. Self-empathy practice and empathy practices in general help us counteract implicit bias. We are human beings. We operate with a level of bias. And self-empathy is one of the things that helps us counteract or shift implicit bias. And finally, it can help us connect to our deep vulnerability and deep hurt and sadness and grief in a very tender way, and often a very sacred way, really connect to our sense of sadness and grief. So those are a few of the reasons, and these are all in the slides if you want to go back to it, by why I kind of really trust self-empathy as a practice. And as I said at the beginning, I do a lot of work with in mediation, and self-empathy is an essential aspect of conversation being possible, that both parties are able to connect to their own feelings and needs. If they don't deeply and authentically connect to their own feelings and needs, there is much less possibility that they can hear each other. So it really works for dialogue as well. Thank you for all the comments and explanations that are coming into the chat. It's really, really sweet to see. I think I will close my segment of this there, Goni, and hand back to you. I wonder what a way of just signaling this sort of slight shift out of kind of working with self-empathy and going on to logistics and talking about the convention. Have you got any ideas? I haven't.
I would actually be happy to hear 2 or 3 voices of like a meaningful take on a
Let's
takeout.
do
How
that.
do
Yeah.
how do you say
Takeaways, yeah.
takeaway?
I see you, Melinda, coming to you first. So what are you taking away? Let's hear from 3 people.
Yeah.
So Melinda first, then Barb.
Well, thank you. I was just thinking one way to transition would be to express gratitude. I feel deep gratitude, almost some tears for what I've gained, the insights. So I think that's basically what I wanted to say, just a need to express gratitude.
Oh, thank you, Melinda. I'm really appreciating your tears. I feel that too. So thank you. Okay, Barb and then Vanita.
Hi, I am trying to put my video on. There we go. I also feel a tremendous need to offer my gratitude. I have felt incredibly alone in my stories around what overwhelms me right now. And even just hearing Ceri, your share, I felt just so connected with the way that the struggles that you're going through, and it had this sort of byproduct of making me, as the listener and witness, so much more connected, as well as having the chance to practice and do something that felt really foreign to me, which was offer myself empathy and, being reminded of the value. Anyway, just thank you so much, all of you.
Oh, thank you, Barb. I feel really, really big smile on my face hearing you say that. So thank you. Beautiful. Lovely to hear your voice. Go on, Vanita. Let's have the last one, Vanita.
Thank you. Ceri, I'm in India just now. It is past midnight, and I was wondering whether I'll really manage this session, but I actually got up from my bed and I'm taking notes. I loved your demo. I also enjoyed working with my partner Genji, and I literally I'm also a certificate candidate. So for me, the entire class with the generosity of giving slides, I'm just taking away like goodies on self-empathy. So thank you very much.
Oh, Vanita, thank you. And thank you so much for being awake at 12 o'clock. And yeah, I love it. I love that you've got something from it and you're taking notes and the slides are there for you. So great. Lovely to hear your voice. So I will finish my involvement here and hand over to Goni. So you can talk about the convention and I will hopefully see some of you there.
So, okay, first of all, thank you so much. I just love being with you and learning with you. And I always feel, as other people were sharing, I feel there is a lot I take with me when I leave the space. So thank you so much for your generosity of offering this session for all the people from around the world. And yeah, I will slowly make the transition and say that NVC Rising is hosting an in-person global convention, Rising for Life, that will take place on May 25 in Spain, the south of Spain. And I'm here to tell you a little bit more about it now and to answer some questions. And if you are not interested, I really, really thank you for being with us until now. And I welcome you to feel free to leave at your pace and to continue with your day, afternoon, night. I also actually want to welcome you to follow us. We have a few more open community events coming up. in the next few weeks. So I just welcome you to join us again in the next few weeks. We will have trainers Tarek Masarani and Catherine McFerrin, who are also part of the leading training team of the Rising for Life convention, offering open sessions, open online sessions in March and April. So the first thing that I would like to do, actually, for those of you who stayed here, I would like to ask you again to put in some numbers in front of your names. Maybe, please add 1 if you already signed up to the convention. Please add 2 if you applied for our social change fellowship, or if you are generally considering joining us. And please add 3 to your name if this is like a very, how to say, like an initial curiosity. Maybe you just heard about it now, you know, when you happen to be staying with us. So 1, you already signed up. 2, you either applied for the social change or are kind of like more seriously interested. And 3 is like, oh, I'm opening now for the possibility of hearing more. This will just help me to know who is in the room and who is interested and to what extent. Thank you. And I also see some familiar faces here. And 4 is other. So yes. Hey, Mayor. Not sure if I pronounced your name correctly. And I see Janie that is already gonna, you signed up. I'm so happy to see you again. And I'm really, really happy to see people that are interested and curious to hear more. Okay, so I will repeat a little bit for those of you who might not been here in the beginning. My name is Goni. I'm part of the NVC Rising team. Living in Israel, Palestine, and I've been getting to know nonviolent communication around 15 years ago in an Israeli-Palestinian peace center that was called ECOMI, and I was in a 9 days residential training. This is where I got to know NVC for the first time, and for a couple of years I was holding the ECOMI Center with a group of Israeli and Palestinian activists, and we were practicing NVC, learning NVC, and we were able to live together for a couple of years in the West Bank, thanks to the wisdom, the practice, and the spirit of NVC. And we also created global international long trainings, and we invited people from Palestine, from Israel, and from around the world to join us and learn together for 9 to 14 days of residential trainings. And I continued my journey with NVC Rising. NVC Rising was kind of established from a group of friends that got connected in ECOMI Center. And we decided that we want to take another step forward and create learning opportunities for people from around the world to get to know what NVC is, or to just deepen, for people to just deepen their practice and to be in community. In our experience at ECOMI was showing and demonstrating for us that a community is essential for a person to be able to manifest a lot of what they can contribute to the world. There are many things we can do by ourselves, and there are so much more things that we can do together, especially if the community is to some extent like-minded. And when I say like-minded, oh, wait, someone is, wait, okay. Yeah, so there are so many things that one can do when they are part of either a local or a global community of people who share similar values. And at the Rising for Life convention, our wish is to open a space for a global community, a global, Jim, I don't know, you're sharing a screen with us, or you're doing something that is I don't know how you can do it, but I'm kind of closing it. So at the Rising for Life convention, what we are hoping to create is a space for the global community of NVC practitioners to come together and to explore what is nonviolence. What is my connection to violence and what is my connection to nonviolence? What is my to look deeper at my commitment to nonviolence and to explore and research and self-introspect what is violence, self-introspect what is violence, but also research what violence is on a systemic level and what nonviolence can look like on a systemic level, social level. I can say that we are going to have, actually, maybe I'll say it like this. When we first started to imagine this convention, the first step we did is to secure funds for activists from around the world to join us. And we are going to have about 10 activists from around the world that we are going to sponsor and to invite, and hopefully between 40 to 60 other people that are going to sign up and be part of this convention, this community. One thing that I can share is that we are not planning to have an intro. We're not going to have intro sessions to nonviolent communication during the event. We are expecting for people to join after getting, after learning at least the basics. And together with this, I want to say that we are actually expecting people that have quite a lot, like a fair amount of people that have quite a lot of experience already with nonviolent communication, people that have been learning and practicing for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, people that have been also teaching and facilitating. So there is going to be obviously some, like a variety of people. But if you are really, really new to NVC, we will also request from you to do some work before you arrive to the convention. The convention is 8 days and 7 nights. And when I say convention, we decided to call it a convention, but it's on a practical level, it's a training. Oh, I see that I need to admit some people here. On a practical level, it's a training. It's an intensive training. We're going to have an opening evening, and then we are going to have 6 full days of sessions with the 3 lead trainers, Tarek Masarani, Kathleen McFerrin, and Ceri that you've met today, and another half a day for closing on the last day. We're going to meet at Soria Lila Retreat Center in the south of Spain. I actually got I got a question in the chat. And I want to say that if you have signed up to the convention, you will have your place at Soria Lila. You don't have to book it separately. Maybe there was a confusion around that. So if you are signing up and joining us, you will have accommodation there. Tuition fee for the convention is at this point in time is 1,600 euros. This is the tuition fee. And there's another fee for accommodation, which vary depending on which accommodation you would like to have. And saying that, I know that maybe unlike our programs until now, it's definitely quite a big financial investment. I can say that some people are fundraising to be able to join. Some people, you know, they will offer a series of classes or something that they can offer in order to fundraise their trip. Some people might be, for some people, it might be possible to connect their, like if they work for an organization or a company that might be able to support or sponsor some of their expenses. And I also really welcome you to write to us if this is something that is really, really important for you and meaningful for you. And we might be able to offer other strategies around that. One other thing that I would like to share is that we will have a very clear structure for every day. We are going to have 3 sessions per day. Okay, let's say that 2 main sessions per day offered by trainers. And we will have like a morning session and an afternoon session. And there will be a few parallel sessions that you could choose from. And we will also have in the evenings participatory led sessions. So we are going to have quite a lot of people coming from many different places around the globe with a lot of knowledge and a lot of skills and many things that they could share with us. So this will also be part of what will be offered. One type of sessions that we are going to have, we call it the Eats Alive sessions. Daily session it's a daily session where participants are going to bring a conflict, attention, something that is really alive in them that they would like to process together. It might be something that is very personal, like a conflict in my, I don't know, romantic relationship. And it might be something that is more on a social systemic level, like me being an Israeli in the past 1.5 years of the war going on around me. How am I going to hold this? And something that is alive in me around that I would like to process with the community, perhaps with another person that is there, that is also living in Palestine and Israel. So this is also going to be part of the types of work that we will be doing together. Some of the sessions are very planned ahead and have a very clear, like, you know, order, and some of them are actually just going to be relating to what is alive in the group that is going to be formed. I think I've said enough. I would like to open some time for questions. I think we will have around 10 minutes for that. If there is more, I'm open to stay more. Yeah, so I would love to hear some questions. Yeah. Yeah, Angie.
Yeah, unless Jan was unmuting. Or you want to go? Oh no, okay, cool. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm one of these new people to this, and I just saw it the other day, and I thought, yeah. Anyway, but I'm curious about time for fun and relaxation and sort of connecting with people through play.
Mm-hmm. Whether we are going to have time for that.
Yeah.
Yes, we're definitely hoping to have time for that. We also really need the people who you know, are happy to be leading a space like this. Some of us are actually very much like this, Shachar and Hen and Racheli from our team. So definitely we are hoping to have time for this. We are going to have every morning, we are going to have time for, you know, something that is not necessarily speaking. And as I said, also in the evenings, we are going to have parallel offerings from participants, and we might also do like something that is pre-planned. Definitely going to have time for this. And also in the in the middle of the day, we're also going to have a break. And that's going to be also like a different time. Like we are also going to have a break and time for rest, but some people could also be doing different things that are facilitated, that are held.
Yeah, I guess I didn't say, but as well as fun, just, yeah, physical stuff like, I know, swimming or walking or just yoga or stuff like that. Just otherwise it can get a bit, yeah. Thank you.
Maybe it's a time to talk a little bit about Soria Lila, and I wish I had Ceri here with me because she was there a few times already. But Soria Lila is an amazing space to be connecting with nature, for connecting with nature. So there is a lot of nature that is going to be around us. We definitely do plan to have some time outside, like part of what we are planning to have is also time for, this is not actually play, but time for mourning, and that we are hoping to have also outside in nature. And we're also open for more ideas. But definitely walking. Maybe one thing that I can mention around that is that we are also going to have a kids hub. So we are trying to make this convention a little bit like young parents or family friendly. The kids are not going to be there during the trainer sessions, but they are going to have kind of their own schedule parallel to us. So kids are also going to be part of the space in one way or another, and they are going to bring their beauty and, you know, their life energy, and my two daughters are going to be there as part of the kids hub. So we're definitely going to have them as part of the larger community. They might join us in some of the community meeting in the morning or in the evening. So I hope they will also bring that to the space. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah. Yes, Jan.
Yes, actually I do. I'm glad I can raise my hands. The raised hand function for some reason hasn't been easy for me to find lately. That's all. I know it's there, but what can we offer, contribute? How can we, I'm a number 2 there, but I actually didn't realize how it synchronizes with where I'll be likely in the world in May. So it's like, oh, maybe this is one of those things that I need to really pay attention to. So, and but I'm wondering about really what you're offering in terms of the mix of young and old, of all that we do, our practices that have sustained us, and, you know, where we can individually but together choose the quality of the day, or you know, where we're staying, all that, you know, I'd like to be part of that, you know, and you know, I can do childcare as well as anybody else, you know what I mean? Or I can do, but yeah, I think actually I can do it pretty good since I haven't really graduated from that level anyway. But that's all. That's the question.
But I'm actually not fully clear on your question. It's maybe it's a matter of English. So the question is how much
can we find, I actually don't even know how to spell the place, and I think it's come up.
Soria Lila.
Yeah.
Soria Lila. Yeah. How
and
can we
come up on my because I'm connected with upcoming events, but I think I'm asking in general, is there a website to go to find out more volunteers you might need, that kind of thing?
Okay, so I'm going to put in the chat, and if someone is writing to me in private, I'm not sure I could answer now. Yeah. Okay, so what I want to say that if you are now texting me on the Zoom chat, I would really, really like you to write me an email, and I'm going to send it here again because I'm not so much available at the moment to write answers here. Okay, so here in the chat, I hope, Jan, you could see the chat. Can you see it?
Sure, sure.
So there is the Rising for Life website.
Okay.
There is my email for inquiries, and there is another document. There's another link for a document that is specifying more clearly and directly the themes of the convention, like what is it that we are actually going to talk about? What is it that we are actually going to learn together? Maybe I should also put the link to Soria Lila, which is the retreat center, but I would like to say something about that. We are going to start the convention on Saturday, May 24th, Saturday evening. People are coming into the area of Soria Lila in different ways. Some people are flying. Major cities next to Soria Lila are Seville. I mean, this is how I say it. Some people say Seville. I say it Seville. Malaga and Jerez. Again, maybe I'm not saying it correctly. And Soria Lila is not next. I mean, it is between these three cities, but it's out there in the nature. So we are going to have for participants, we are going to organize shared taxis that can bring them from wherever they are, not from wherever they are, but from these three main cities to the retreat center. So if you signed up, and you're probably going to arrive on Saturday morning, afternoon. So we will have all the means to communicate with you through WhatsApp group, through email, to link people together and to let you know, oh, there's a taxi going from Seville main station at 2 p.m. and you can join it. So this is a little bit about how to arrive there. And all the information is in the Rising for Life website, including some information about Soria Lila, the location. Jen, is there anything else that can be
No,
helpful?
I thank you very much. I took a picture of it, and I'm gonna follow
Okay.
through with what as far as I can for now, and we'll.
Okay. And I can say that we will also, these few links that I shared now, we will also follow up with an email to all the people that have signed up to this event, and we will send the recording of Ceri's session, and we will send, I would like to say that for everyone that is here, we are happy to offer a small discount, and to give the early bird pricing for everyone who has been attending these pre-introductory sessions. Yeah. Maybe I will say another thing. I mean, again, I'm not sure who is around here and who is interested in what. I can also say we are still fundraising to sponsor more and more activists from around the globe. And we have been committed to sponsor 10. And we actually really would like to sponsor 20 because we had, amazing people applying. And so we are actually still fundraising. If you are not able to come, and not any of you specifically, any of you here, if for some reason you're not able to come, but then you would like to support, I am also going to put the link in the chat. How can you support others? Yeah. And if you know people who might be might have access to resources and might be interested in supporting people from around the world, you could also tell them about it and share these links with them. This will actually highly support amazing people from around the world that have applied. Yeah, we would like to ask if there are more questions for those of you who are here. More questions, more questions.
May I ask? Hi.
Yes. Hey, Nina.
I was wondering when is the when would you know the approximate timing of funding, like choosing people?
Yeah. We are hoping to receive to get back to people within 2 weeks time frame from now. So it could be by the end of this week, and it might also be a little bit later. And it's partly because we are still fundraising. So, but I would like to say about that you know, if some people will get an answer that they are on a waiting list, and actually then we are still really recommending, I don't know if it's possible for anyone, but we are still really recommending for people, if possible for them, to leave it open, to leave this option in their calendar a little bit open, because we might have more funding coming in, and we might be able to say, you know, a month before the convention, hey, we got a donation, and we can invite you now.
Thank
yeah.
you. Good
And
luck.
I can also say, and I can only say that if people are getting the answer that they're on the waiting list, it's just because we had many people applying, really amazing people from around the world, and the choice is just hard.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions about this? See, we have 18 people here. I'm really happy to have all of you. Yes, Angie. Yes.
I did look this up on the website, but I honestly can't remember when it's going to be, this convention.
Yeah.
And if this might be the first, like whether you might do another one.
We do plan to have another one, yet we are unsure whether we will do it or not. Yeah.
But the date of this, yeah.
It's a half. Yeah, it's a half yes, actually.
Yeah.
I guess we can only tell after doing the first one how possible it is for us. I can say that I guess maybe unlike other big gatherings like this is like a international global gathering. It takes place in Spain because it has to take place somewhere on Earth, but it's not a local like training in that sense. Maybe like some other international trainings that are taking place, some of them have like a local orientation. and we will have, and we might, of course we will have some context because we will be in Spain, but the entire convention is going to be held in English. Unfortunately, we're not going to offer translation. And I'm saying this because I wanted to say that actually we're a grassroots initiative. We don't have any big, like any, we are all independent freelancers, entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs. So we don't have like a big organization backing us, and all the funds that are collected are are going to be used. So this is why we actually can't say like whether there will be another one. It's just really depending on the success of the first one.
Yeah, sure. It's probably a silly question, but just remind us of the dates of this one.
Yeah, the 24th of May until 31st of May.
Oh, wow.
2024 until 31st.
Yeah, soon, right? Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's around around 3 months from now. Yeah, a little bit less. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, last question. And if no questions, so we will close. Yeah, okay. Thank you everyone for coming. Keep following us. We have more events coming up online that are open for all of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. You've done well.
Bye. Hey, Barak.
Thank
So happy to see
you,
your
Donnie.
face. Hey, Brian.
Thank you.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Good stamina,
Bye.
Donnie. Good stamina. Thanks a lot.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.